In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
You've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm
asking.
I
don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people?
But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her.
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms. That the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy.
She didn't do quite enough to move specific proposals ahead. And he spent a lot of time kind of attacking Biden, which everybody told him not to do. I mean, everybody, all the news media, from all the whole spectrum, from most right to most left, said, stop it with the attacks, right? And focus on the economy and the issues. But, you know, instead we got to hear about the dogs and the pets that are being eaten and, you know, so he didn't quite stick to the plan. So I think he wasn't able to show maybe working class voters how he was going to work in their interest, right? Because sometimes for certain segments of voters, the really big issue is why are groceries so damn expensive? I think that Trump gave his base a lot of what he wanted. A lot of what they wanted, I'm sorry. So he repeated a lot of his talking points that are really like hyperbolic and really like, we're going to have the best economy ever. It was the greatest economy, but then, you know, I was unfairly kicked out and now I'm going to come back and make it again, you know, so essentially repeating all the greatest hits. So I don't see how that would in any way endanger his position with the committed Republicans. On the other hand, I think Harris was she was sort of on the offensive in terms of calling him out on his past erratic behavior, his hyperbole, his stretching the truth, his telling lies, and also on being weak, right? So, throughout, I guess, the past, 4, 8 years, we've known that former President Trump has a special sensitivity to being called weak and a special respect for people that he considers strong. Trump did something very skillful, which is that he almost never spoke about Harris independently. He, they, right? So not only painting her with the same brush as Biden, he called Biden her boss, right? Several times, maybe like 5 or 6 times, your boss, right? And by calling her that, he was actually minimizing her and making her an underling, right? And not giving her any of her own specific agency. And I just have to say one thing, which is that I don't think he has dementia, right? Because somebody that really is losing the connections between arguments is not going to be able to do that for that long, right? So anyway, I don't think his faculties are compromised. I think the compromises might be somewhere else. But so what she's doing is like, you don't say, right? Like, it's very skeptical, very sardonic, and totally, I don't know, giving like, yeah, like a mom who already knows and you're in big trouble. The threads, that kind of unite Trump discourse is he's definitely reawakening his very, very famous first speech that he gave at the bottom of the stairs of Trump Tower the first time, on American carnage, right? So he's reawakening all of that discourse by saying, we're going down, like this country is, in basically a fire. And I think for him, like, Biden is weak and ineffective. And part of that vacuum is what has allowed the world exactly to be like a dumpster fire now, right? Like, I mean, Afghanistan wouldn't have happened if he had been there. I guess Ukraine wouldn't have happened either. And Hamas would never have attacked Israel. Like, he's basically claiming credit for things that he had absolutely nothing to do with, or claiming reverse credit for stopping things that happened, Anyway. So the thing about her was that she was so sarcastic and it really irked him, right? So she said world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security. Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. I mean, that's just, like, of course, playing on The Apprentice, you're fired. So she's just goading him.